it's just a gimmick basically to most of those sorts of people. Frogmore at Wally Frogmore, we know that Frogmore's a fan from down under, so he's used to the NRL where Golden Point has been in regular season action for a few years now, and he says it seems I'm in the minority here. Yes, you are, but there's bigger minorities out there that you could have been in, Froggers. Brian Keller at Brian Gellert said, I'm sure many will like the Golden Point, but I can't for the life of me see what's wrong with a draw. And yeah, I suppose the argument that's been often made on that, Brian, is there's nothing wrong with a draw, but now we're just being told that a draw is acceptable after 90 minutes, not 80 minutes. Hey ho. David Lum at LumD said, how many draws are there anyway? Don't want to go all Rod Stud, but what about the away team get a bonus? 0.5 point, 1 point for the home side, 1.5 points for the away side. Personally, I like the draw and would leave it be. Yeah, I think talking about bonus points and that sort of stuff, that to me complicates things even more than what we are doing. I've thought long and hard about things like, should it be both get a point after 80 minutes, but then the winner gets an extra point after 90 minutes? And I come and go on that one. Let me know your thoughts, guys, on that particular way of running it. But I've got no real objections to Golden Points, even though I don't see what's wrong with a draw. I suppose what people might say is, it just is it's going to be a drop goal-a-thon. Well, maybe that'll help hone the drop goal kicking skills, because the last 5 minutes of most drawn, the last 5 to 7 minutes of most tied games or close games turn into that often anyway in Super League, and we see some fantastic drop goal moments in our game. Go and click on the RFL highlight reel for them from last season if you want to see some amazing clutch moments. But we do see some bad drop goal attempts as well. Just watch any Leeds Rhinos performance in a close game last year, for example. There was 4 draws last season in Super League. There's usually around about 3 to 6 in most seasons, so they're not hugely common, but they are quite common. And it might mean in those other close games you might see more people trying different ways of winning the game in the 80 minutes, knowing that they've got the chance of going again in Golden Point. So I'm not strictly opposed to it. I'm also don't have a problem with draws. So this is when I'm happy to let it play out and see if it does add any excitement to those drawn games. That's where I stand on that one. The final one we asked was, which league system do you think is best for Super League? Now, I asked this because it's just one of my things, I think. I'm a big fan of closed league systems in terms of the stability that they can create. There's benefits there that I think we never realised with our licensing system. We never ran it correctly. And I didn't ask this for us to be changing our system any further or our league setup any further, because we've just done that too many fucking times. But the 2 options we put out there was a promotion and relegation type system. 79% agreed with that, and I can totally understand why, and that was my expectation for this poll, to be honest, because the British sporting culture buys into promotion and relegation, our main sport that we have. The national sport of association football has that in there, and so it ingrains it into our sporting culture as well. So I understand why people have voted that way. The other option we put forward was an NRL style franchise system, and 21% supported that. And Paul O'Brien at POB 1976 was one of the ones who chipped in on that. He said, I like franchising. It gives the clubs a bit of stability and stops them throwing money at below par players to try and survive. But with franchising, clubs would need to be encouraged to build their youth setup. So what you're talking about there, I suppose, Paul, is franchising with conditions on it, which really is how any sort of league entry should be. We should be having minimum standards that we expect to achieve, minimum amount of spend on youth development, minimum amount of facilities, of training for post Rugby League life. All these sorts of standards should be built into what we do. The problem then is we need someone to manage that, and I think we've shown with the leadership of our sport that has been a challenge. franchising came at a time when we were, it was put forward at a time when probably things were growing in this country across the board. Not just in our sport, where attendances were growing through to 2007, 2008. But all of a sudden we had the global financial crash. It hit the rugby league areas even harder than the core rugby league areas, even harder than it hit the whole country. So there was some element of mitigation there about the financial status of where our clubs got to, and starting to see drop off in crowds and stuff like that. And we've had 10 years of austerity now almost, and it feels like a lot of people from the rugby league heartlands have probably been squeezed. Let's not move away from the fact that it is traditionally a working class sport, and most of us that go and watch the game are in working class or lower middle class kind of level of occupations, and so possibly licensing came along at a wrong time. But like I say, promotion and relegation is in our culture, and I think it'd be an interesting one to track to see if feelings on something like that change as we get the one up, one down system embedded in for a few years. Interesting one to follow, definitely. And thanks to everyone who voted on all of those. And I hope I've been able to highlight some interesting talking points, even though this was a rare SLP one-man show. Thanks for listening to this episode of SLP Shorts, though, all the same. And look out for more shows soon as the new season is due to get underway. Our 2019 predictions and Super League preview shows will be coming along around the 22nd, 23rd of January, so make sure you've got space for the downloads of those. We'll also try and get some shorts together to preview the Championship and League One seasons as January comes to an end and February begins as well. We've had a few fans in who support teams in those clubs who've got their views in, and we definitely want to cover those as well, even though Super League Pod is the name, but Rugby League is what we cover. If you want more SLP in your life, you can find us at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram. It's facebook.com/Super League Pod. And if you want to email us about anything, superleaguepod@gmail.com is the email address you can use. You can get more SLP content on our blog, which you can find superleaguepod.com. You can find the main week. We put up on the blog recently our 2019 Rugby League resolutions, New Year's resolutions. So check those out. We kind of threw out their resolutions for the game itself on a wider aspect, and for us as individuals supporting the game. So please do check that out. You can find the main weekly show and subscribe through Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, the Podcast Addict app, the Leaguecast Android app. You can find us on there with other top Rugby League listeners. You can also go to rugbyleaguemedia.com, where similarly you'll find a range of alternative Rugby League media outlets for yourself to enjoy. Please do follow us on all platforms, social media platforms, and share our posts as much as you can. Lots of people ask how they can help SLP. Well, the easiest way to do that is to share our free content online for free. So if you do that, if you retweet the tweets, share it on Facebook, share it into your Facebook groups with other fans, throw it up on message boards you're on. Sometimes I get told off by the message boards if I throw it up too much. But hey, if you guys are out there spreading the word to fellow fans, I think we'll get away with that. If you listen to us on iTunes, you can leave a rating or a review. That'll help grow SLP's profile more as well. So the more you guys show us love to the show, the more we'll be able to do. Basically, if you want to do that, that'd be really appreciated. We want to thank you again for listening. Until you hear from us again, keep enjoying and supporting the greatest game of all, Rugby League.